Good evening, welcome to the Speedway Tavern. Normally at this time I go have a little rant and a rave about something not quite right in Speedway, but today I don't think it's appropriate as we mourn the loss of one of Speedway's own, only in Speedway. Oh, good. What was that then? Well, it sounded as it might have been useful. Yeah, well, let's start with that. I think we should start with that. Speedway lost one of its own this week. A rider died from head injuries. His helmet came off. Christoph Rempala, a Polish rider, doesn't ride in Britain, but it's a family community in Speedway, so I think it'd be right to just say to all his friends and family, our thoughts are with you.
Yeah. Just 18 years of age.
18 years of age, yeah. It's,
no age,
absolutely not. So that just reminds you all what a dangerous sport it is that we watch and why it's so exciting. But nobody wants to see that, so there you go. Right, well, on more sort of positive notes. First of all, we have our shout box on the go, so anybody that wants to join in on tonight's show, and there will be a few things to join in on tonight's show, I can assure you. Get yourselves up on the shout box, or we can go via our Facebook page, which Chris is about to tell you how to access.
Yeah, if you go to facebook.com/Brummies. There you go.
Couldn't be easier.
Yeah, easy enough. Yeah.
Also, I don't know how many of you are watching via our normal radio, but you can catch us on Facebook. And
well, you can't watch on radio, can you?
Why did we bring him?
Just to be pedantic.
I'm getting it off track.
And
it is his house, to be fair.
Yeah,
so.
But we are streaming live in glorious colour on Facebook. So you can actually see us, which I'm not sure whether that's an advantage or not, but
and feel free to comment as well. There are people watching us, so
yes,
feel free
yes.
to comment.
Please do. Right, so shall we start off with all things Wolverhampton? I think it's fair to say you've had mixed times over the past week or so.
Yeah, I thought Monday against Kings Lynn, I actually think Kings Lynn probably should have won the meeting.
Do you know what I was going to say? Because I saw it on the telly.
If a certain Australian had been a bit more on it, shall we say, Mr. Batchelor, then I think Kings Lynn could have. Wolves at one point looked like we were going to run away with it. It was good to see Michael Beck showing a bit better form. But obviously Kings Lynn, I think they deserved a point. If maybe they could have nicked a win, but the most important thing for Wolves obviously was to get the win after the after the couple of defeats that we've had in recent weeks against Coventry and Poole. Fairly routine home win against Leicester, of course, a couple of weeks ago, followed by that away win at Beaumont Park a couple of weeks ago as well. So.
Lakeside.
Well, I think the Lakeside one was always going to be a tricky one. I think personally, I don't think anybody's going to go to Lakeside and win. They look very, very strong on their track. In fairness, last night the Wolves riders were gating well, but they were just getting past all the time. I think maybe a little bit of poor riding from some of them, just not riding the track properly. Sam Masters kept drifting out wide. Although in fairness to Sam Masters, it was the first time he'd been there, so he could probably.
It was quite a slick track for Wolverhampton, wasn't it? I don't think I've seen.
It was a slick track, but there was some good meetings. Probably as good meetings as I've seen at Monmouth.
It was a good
meeting. Years.
It was a good meeting.
It started off a bit slowly, but got better as it went on. Bodes well for the World Cup. I think with Robert Lambert, he was exceptional. Niels Everson looked very, very fast as well when he got in front. There was a couple of good races involving him. So obviously Kingston will be looking to try and get a bit of revenge on Wolves tonight. Wolves are depleted side. No Michael Beck, no Carl Howarth, no Max Clegg.
Because?
Just riding elsewhere.
All right.
Michael Beck's obviously riding in a meeting in Denmark. I have heard one or two rumours that he's not going to ride for the club again. I don't know whether there's anything in that. I've checked it out and there's nothing that I've found out. Carl Howarth, I believe, is riding for his Premier League club.
Okay.
And Max Clegg, of course, as well, riding for his Premier League club as well. So
Max Clegg is possibly not a great loss for you. He's not been...
I thought he rode well last night at Lakeside. He got 5 points.
Okay.
Certainly looked a lot more on it than he has in recent weeks. I think it's just a confidence thing with Max, to be honest. He's definitely got the ability.
Yeah, he's a talented
rider. It looks like at the moment they are sort of alternating between him and Ashley Morris. I think Ashley Morris at the moment for me is a better rider. Although if you're looking long term, you'd have to go for Max Clegg, I think.
Now, little Dicky Bird from upstairs has just whispered in my ear that I forgot to introduce you all tonight. So
I don't know who we are.
Yeah, I better do that, I suppose. So, joining us on tonight's show, we have, as you just heard, the inimitable Matt Buck. I'm not going to say that again.
Good evening.
We also have Joseph.
Who's that?
That would be you. And Chris Webby Brown. Oh, dear. Of course.
We give him control and that's what he does.
And also we have just come to join us for tonight and see how what this Speedway is all about is our friend Johnny. Hello, Johnny. Who's...
Yeah.
There you go.
I thought he'd forgot how to speak.
Yeah.
There you go. So, okay, I'm in a mixed bag. And we suppose we also have a look at what's happening in the Kings Lynn Wolves match tonight. It's Kings Lynn 5.
I'll just reload that because I think that was a couple of seconds ago.
It's Kings Lynn 7.
Kings Lynn?
Kings Lynn 7 and Wolves 11.
Start.
That's not a bad start,
Very
is
good
it?
start, yeah. Obviously no Jakob Torsell either. He's riding in a Swedish Championship meeting, I think. So it's a bit of a mishmash of a Wolves team tonight. Lewis Bridger, of course, guesting. He rode really well last night for Lakeside. So...
I think you're being helped slightly by the fact that Niels Christian Everson fell in his first race.
It does help a little bit sometimes.
Seems to be a bit of a hole in the bend. So,
a bit like Paul, so...
Yeah.
The less said about that, the better.
Yeah, well, that was interesting, wasn't it? Comments from Matt Ford about saying stop using the track as an excuse to his riders, basically, because you ain't performing away from home either. And then, of course, I went to Swindon and beat Swindon. So, interesting.
And they made a really flying start against Swindon at home last night, and Swindon pegged them back. So, but Paul not looking as invincible as I think everybody thought.
True, but they probably will be invincible by the end of the season. That's generally how they work it, isn't it?
Yeah, it's going to be interesting. I think I mean, everyone says the elite leagues is predictable. At the moment, it's I don't think it's clear cut the top 4 at the moment. I think I think at the moment the team I would fear the most is probably Bellevue, and then Lakeside more so than Poole, because Lakeside. I don't think Lakeside are going to drop a point at home.
Bellevue have got to get themselves dialed into their home track yet, haven't they?
Well, of course, I'll be there in 2 weeks, I think, for Wolsey's visit there on June the 17th. So, really looking forward to going up there.
Yeah. Okay. We're also following Sheffield versus Workington, and that's currently 15-9. Adam Roynan winning his first race. I thought Adam Roynan looked more like his old self the other night, but yeah,
he struggled a bit on Monday at Monmouth.
Yeah.
In fairness, I don't think it's Adam's sort of tracking.
No, I think Adam. We spoke about Adam and his injuries before. Maybe
one not too many. I think for Adam.
I think so.
Real shame. It's a real shame as well because I think he could have been a really, really good prospect.
Yeah. Into the National League, Isle of Wight 17 and Weymouth Wildcats. It's obviously a challenge match.
Yep.
7. It's funny, isn't it? Only in Speedway that in the Weymouth Wildcats, a team that doesn't exist, are operating rider replacement.
Yeah,
I think that's really funny. But Danny Ayres a rider replacement because obviously he was supposed to be riding for us.
I've got the laughing placement in my head now.
Well, good luck with that. Okay.
I've got that song in my brain now.
Yeah.
Hang on, my laughing placement.
So, okay, I'm going to sort of be. Well, I'm not going to be controversial. I'm going to read out something that I think people may find controversial, which is something that Leicester have been going on about. If Chris puts that up for me, I will read that.
I haven't seen this, actually.
And they're saying it's time to ban riders that are in the World Championships in this country. But I'll read the whole story for you. So, He said, "It's about time we started looking after ourselves. The latest challenge for Leicester Lions has been securing the services of our young Polish talent, Szymon Wozniak," or something like that. But this is not the first time a British club has lost the services of a Polish rider, and unless the approach of British Speedway changes, it won't be the last. In Poland, the clubs have control of the riders' licences. Unlike in England, if a team does not perform to an expected standard, then the club will expect their riders to come back to formal practice a day or two before the next league fixture. That is regardless of whether a rider has racing commitments elsewhere in Europe. So when Wozniak should have been representing Leicester last Friday and Saturday, his Polish club Wrocław insisted he was in Poland practising. We informed the British Speedway Promoters Association, who through the international governing body of motorcycle sport, the FIM, contacted the Polish authorities to resolve this matter. The consequences were unbelievable, as the Polish club simply removed his international start permission. So as of now, the only place Szymon, however you pronounce that, can ride is in Poland. For me, what should now happen is quite simple. The BSPA should immediately remove every British start permission for our riders riding in Poland, which will include world champion Ty Woffington, who rides at number 1 for Wrocław. The FIM should ban all Polish registered riders from the World Championship until this is fully and unconditionally resolved. So, there we go.
Does he want to support the European Union as well?
Well, that's another issue. If we do pull out of the European Union, how that's going to affect European riders, who presumably at that point will then need work permits to ride in England. But that's the... incidentally, if you can just go back to that for me, Chris, I don't know whether that is the most controversial comment or whether this was the most controversial comment. The comments last Saturday when Grand Prix superstar Andreas Johnson claimed Leicester was the best racing track in the UK. So
David really paid him to say that.
I don't know.
In fairness, I was there a couple of weeks ago and the racing was a bit better.
Okay.
I didn't notice a massive difference. In fairness, it was a wet track as well. So,
Dingle wants to know whether we can all laugh at Cradley yet. Nothing new here. Leicester just finding out how unreliable polls can be.
We had the same.
What was it Dingle said then?
He wants to know if he can laugh at Cradley yet.
Well, I've been laughing at him for 26 years, mate. So.
Dingle, why are we supposed to be laughing at Cradley? Please do tell, because I would love to have a good laugh at Cradley. That would be icings on all sorts of cakes.
Good evening, Stan. He's calling himself Young Stan this week.
Young Stan.
So Young we don't know what's happening there.
So yeah, we've got a few that have joined the shout box. Please join in if you have anything to say. If you agree with anything I say or disagree with anything I say, that will be fantastic. Shall we talk about last night's match?
You have to talk to me about it because I wasn't there.
Okay. Well, the first thing to say is if we do win this league this year, we've done it with our hands tied behind our backs. To be obviously with Tom Perry injured, that's a big blow. But it looked okay. Danny Ayres to replace Tom Perry. It looked good, and obviously covering Tom Bacon with ride replacement.
I'm sure we're going to touch on the subject of Richard Hall sort of at some point, aren't we? In the next.
I think we spoke about that quite a lot last week, didn't we?
Wasn't a show last week.
There wasn't a show last week. Well, yeah. Well, we will say. I mean, I did get my ear to the ground last week, and I've got a few interesting sort of snippets of information about that. So, yeah, well, let's talk about that now before we talk about last night's match then. So, I forgot we hadn't covered the Rye House match either, which, what a win with 5 riders. That was, when we lost Tom Bacon, I thought, this is going to be a tough night. It wasn't a tough night at all, it was an easy night.
I thought Rye were pretty poor, to be honest.
There wasn't there?
I don't think some of Ronnie Allen's management of the starts was particularly good either, really.
No.
Thinking about Mr. Branford in particular. So.
Yes, yeah, I think you're absolutely right. But I sort of went round and did a quick straw poll talking to different people about the Richard Hall situation, and the thing that came over to me was this thing that I spoke about before about perception. If you look at it, if you look at that situation, there is nothing in the rules and regulations that say that we cannot have Richard Hall riding for us. There's nothing at all. In fact, from what I can see and from what Graham has said, we followed all the rules, dotted all the I's, crossed all the T's, and there's no... And then they go and say, well, you've got to use these average from 2004, I think it was, 11 years ago. And yet Eastbourne can have Adam Ellis. It's
there's
just...
there's not really a fairness in distribution of
No,
regulations.
the problem is this thing of perception. The BSPA have made no statement about it. The BSPA, we don't know who's made the decisions on the BSPA. You know, there's nothing about it. There's no clarity about the decision whatsoever. It's just, no, you can't have him. That's it, really. No, you can't have him. Graham Drury, we asked Graham Drury, and I think you will have seen that in last week's interview, about possibility of appeal, and he said, well, there was an appeal, we made an appeal, and no go.
And if you haven't seen that, where can they find it, Webby?
Sorry?
It's on our Facebook page.
What is...
The interview with Graham Drury from last week.
It's also on, if you go on to brummyspeedway.net, that's an easy one to remember, isn't it?
Okay.
You can remember that. All our videos are there.
I can't.
What was it again?
So there's that side of it, but for me it's the perception thing. It might be that there's a perfectly reasonable explanation for what's happened. I don't think there is, but there might be. Without clarity, without the... Yes, this is the decision that was made. This is why we made it, and this was who made the decision. Without that clarity, you're always going to have this. Well, they got it in for us, and that drives fans away. I don't think it was a surprise that the crowd against Rye House last week was so poor, and I think that played a part in it. You know, that, oh, for God's sake, well, what's the point in, you know, that sort of feeling that people get when these things happen with no clarity and no explanation.
The reasoning for blocking it did seem strange, going on an average from 2004.
Well, nobody else has ever gone on an average from 2004 ever, and their own rules state, I think, if I remember right, 2011. So, I just, you know, and in any case, he's got a current average.
Yeah.
So surely that is the more up-to-date average. That's the one that you should be going with. It makes no sense, unless of course it does. And then if it does, then why have we not got that clarity? And why? And this is a problem all over Speedway, isn't it?
Yeah.
And that's why, in my opinion, we have people saying, well, you know, they're doing it to feather their own nest or pull a run in the show or whatever it is, because there's no clarity. And it needs a person to be in charge for making those decisions. Yeah, okay, if you want to sort the rule book with the promoters and do that between you, I can see why that would be a good idea from their point of view. But once you've done the rule book, you give it to a person who runs the show and says, that's the rule book, that's what we're working with. So
I have to say, I wouldn't have been... This is a personal opinion. I wouldn't have been that comfortable with the idea of Richard Hall riding in the National League.
Okay.
Now, my reasons for saying that are that I know we've had this debate in the past about is the National League a development league or is it a proper league, or worse to that effect. I still think by and large it should be a development league, and it shouldn't be about riders just getting some confidence back to try and get a Premier League spot. I don't think that's what the National League's for, personally.
But you're only talking about a temporary replacement for a young rider or a youngish rider.
Yeah.
And you know, we've got the youngest team in the league, so you can't sort of, as far as
just a personal opinion, as I say. So, but I know Adam Ellis is riding in it. I don't think he should have been allowed to ride in it either.
Well, actually, we should say
it's different for someone like Tony Atkin, because he's got no intention of going back into the Premier League. Richard Halls has won the Elite League with Peterborough 10 years ago, and so at one point,
two things to say about that really is if it's in the rules, then it's in the rules. And if you don't want it in the rules, then don't put it in the rules.
Yeah.
I mean, that's the answer. If you,
I did read somewhere actually the official title for it is actually still the National Development League, but most people call it the National League.
Okay.
So they obviously still maintain this feeling that it's a
You're right
development league. It's a development league. That's a personal opinion, to be honest. So I didn't agree with the reason for the decision, but I have to say I did agree with the decision.
Okay.
My opinion.
But
I'm there to be shot at if.
No, because my gripe isn't about the decision itself. It's about the way the decision is made and the lack of clarity and how that is not unusual in this way. That's my.
You said you're here to be shot at.
That's my real gripe about the whole thing. You know.
Well, we know who's not going to be here next week then.
But interestingly, now I'm obviously not going to name names. I'm obviously not going to name names. But as I went round asking, people's different opinions about this, one opinion I got was, if it had been any other club other than Birmingham, then he would have been allowed to ride. Now that sounds like sour grapes, and so on. Interestingly,
I think they would have blocked it anyway.
Well, interestingly, that came from a rider who said that's what he had been told. I'll tell you who it was later.
Can I quickly catch up with on a few?
Okay.
Dingle says, yes, and we can sign Ty Woffington on his old National League average.
Can we sign Ty Woffington on his old National League average? That'd be nice, wouldn't it?
Dingle says, Youngstad says, Dingle, great team building for other clubs to Gainsborough can't own assets.
Yes,
that is still being decided.
That's all still up in the air. That's not final yet.
Zach is not a Lakeside asset until the appeal is heard, apparently.
There you go.
Yeah.
I think he will become a Lakeside asset anyway. I agree with Graham Drury. I don't think that he will try to stop that. So if that's where he wants to go, etc., for obvious reasons, I think that's fair enough. But my gripe with that would be, we should be getting some recompense for it.
Yeah. I know that Buster Chapman is keen apparently to throw the rule book in the bin and restart again. So it was obviously his appointment as BSBA chairman was too late for that to happen last year, but hopefully steps might be made to sort that out next year. I've got a copy of the rule book at home. I'm sure other people have.
I've got it online.
You need a degree in physics to understand it, to be honest. So.
I think you do.
Each year, the British League structure becomes more and more unsuitable for its members. Lack of competition, huge costs and unreliability of riders at EL level, and competitive clubs filling up the National League due to costs being too high at EL level.
I don't think there's anybody here that will really disagree with that. And the truth is, there's not enough riders.
The problem's run in all three leagues, really. The National League is the lesser of the evil in that. Because
the National League's bringing riders up.
Yeah.
The National League's the hope. Is if things are going to be put right in British Speedway, it's from the National League that it will happen. It's the only way forward, really. But hey ho.
I think remarks that the Brummish promotion is not very popular at the BSBA right now.
Well, this was sort of what the rider that I was speaking to, not a Birmingham rider, by the way. Just God, there was probably was to clear that up. That's what this particular rider basically intimated. So. There you go. So anyway, shall we go on to last night's match against Eastbourne? First thing...
What was the crowd like last night?
Well, it was better than the Rye House, perhaps not as good as we would have wanted.
Eastbourne normally bring a fair few to Birmingham.
They did bring some, yeah, they were quite vocal. First thing I've got to say about last night's match is that Eastbourne should have won. They dropped the ball. They should have won. They were the better side last night. I'm not saying they're a better team than Birmingham. Last night, as I say, we turned up expecting Danny Ayres to be guesting for us, and he was ill.
Yeah.
Can't do anything about that, but he was ill. So we had to switch our rider replacement from Danny Ayres from Tom Bacon to Tom Perry. In fact, it was rider replacement for Danny Ayres, for a rider that doesn't even ride for us, but only in Speedway.
Yeah.
Which meant that we was operating rider replacement at number 5. Oof. I mean, yeah, heat 13 strings to mind straight away. Really, really awkward one to sort out, and it showed through the match. And I thought they was going to win. I looked at heats 13, 14 and 15, and I could see 3-5-1s to Eastbourne. They dropped the ball. I thought Charlie Powell was a silly boy.
Mm-hmm.
Did you hear about it?
I've only heard little details from last night.
So I think somebody correct me, please. I can't remember which heat it was now. I think it might have been heat 10. Bit of a ding-dong battle going round the bend at the end of the first lap. Nothing untoward or whatever, but Charlie Powell comes off and stayed down. Well, no need. And he looked up and went, "Oh look, I'm going to move really slowly, and I can't pick up this really heavy bike," sort of thing, you know.
They are heavy bikes, to be fair. Just blind devil's advocate for a minute.
They're not heavy though. You can lift them up with one hand. Yeah, I mean, but anyway, so he did that, you know, and we've seen that time and time again in the Premier League and in the Elite League. It happens. I've never seen it in the National League before. That's the first time I've seen that happen in the National League, and the fact that it was Eastbourne might have something to do with that. I don't know. But the referee was very clever. He didn't turn the red lights on until they came past the starting gate, which meant they'd done 2 laps and he could award the race. Which I thought was clever, but I also thought it was a bit dangerous because the riders didn't have time to stop as they went past Charlie Powell, sort of pretending to lift his bike up. Because I couldn't get my flag out in time because, you know, and they'd gone. You know, that probably didn't look very good on radio, but there you go. So
didn't look good in real life.
No. Didn't look very good on the track last night. So yeah, I mean that was that, and then
that wasn't the only crash, though, was it? There was a
there
was quite a nasty one in heat
14. We'll come on to that. We'll come on to that. So I think for our team, and we'll just go through the scores in a minute. I think for our team, it was a bit of a get out of jail, to be honest. I think we should have lost that meeting last night, and
well, wins a bonus then. So
yeah, absolutely. And I think Eastbourne should be kicking themselves. They had the chance to get all points there.
Okay, that's a reload.
Yeah. So we'll go through the score chart in here, but the other crash was, again, I think it was Charlie Powell. I think it might have been Jack Smith came underneath him and he came off. He didn't touch him.
Yeah.
And then it was no, that was a different one. But there was a rerun with Charlie Powell and he had a right go at Darryl Richins, and I've no idea what for. He won the race, if I remember right, Charlie Powell, and had a right go at Darryl Richins. And again,
I've heard about this on the forums.
Yeah, I've no idea. I don't know what that was about. Darryl Richins wasn't best pleased. Yeah, so that was that, and then there was the heat 14, wasn't it?
Yeah, heat
14 crash, yeah, which was one of the worst crashes I've seen, when you end up with 2 Birmingham riders in the fence, one because he couldn't avoid what was happening in front of him, which was Darryl Richins and Jack Smith, one underneath the fence with the bike having landed on top of him, and the other with his bike upside down.
The other side of the fence?
The fence. It was on top of the fence originally, and then it fell down. They got it off. So that was... And I was the first at the scene, and when you hear a rider screaming in pain, you think the worst.
Yeah.
And he was shouting, get it off me, obviously on about the bike, which we did manage to get off. I punctured 2 of the air fence panels, which was hard work. Thank you very much for that, guys. And then they got up and walked away. Wow. But I mean, that was a first bend incident where I think I'm right in saying that it was Jack Smith and Ellis Perks got... It was from the gate, it was a little bit, to me, to you, You know, they were both at it, trying to get elbows out and get an advantage. But it looked to me that a certain rider decided to actually go straight on rather than turn at the right time, which sent Jack Smith out into the fence. Now, okay, I'm not going to mention rider names now, but I wasn't happy afterwards to see that particular rider laughing about the incident when Jack Smith was still underneath the so.
Neil says my flag was out. Cheating git didn't deserve the protection of low.
He's talking about Charlie Powell not getting up. Yeah. Yes, you got. I didn't have time to get my flag out. Mine was out and they'd gone past me. And I can understand why the referee did what he did. And from a point of view of the match, I was quite grateful they did, because I think it was the first time that Jake Knight had got beaten, and so if it had been rerun, maybe he wouldn't have got beaten. So yeah, I was quite pleased about that. So is that the current scores? Kings Lynn Stars 13, Wolverhampton Wolves 17. Sheffield, we'll have a look in a moment. So, yeah, is it my imagination, or are we having really eventful matches at the moment? The last two have certainly been eventful for one reason or another, crashes, and we've got a lot, and it almost feels a little bit like 2008 all over again. Yeah. Can somebody give me some wood to touch?
Except so far we are managing to hold our own, even with essentially a hand tied behind
yeah,
our
we are.
which is definitely impressive.
The other thing I'd like to mention actually is I know it has been said in certain quarters, I probably sort of said it myself, that we haven't got a chance against Kent on the two legs. I'm not so sure anymore, because Mildenhall went to Kent. They lost by 2 points. They're not unbeatable. I think we need to have our full team.
At the moment, I will put Kent as slight favourites. Slight.
Well, I would, just purely because of the injury situation, But although they did say at the meeting last night that they're hopeful that actually he's had his operation and it'll be back in time. That's what he's targeting, to be back in time for that meeting. So that would be.
And Stan said he's got some wood.
Okay. We did an interview with Graham last night. Have you got that lined up?
Because if you want to watch that, you're going to have to go to our YouTube channel, which is at brummyspeedway.net.
Okay, so we did an interview. Young Joseph did an interview last night with Graham, and I'd love to tell you what was on that interview so we could talk about it.
It was good. I'll just tell you, it was good.
Okay, it was good. I don't know. What did you ask him about, Joe?
I can't remember everything that I asked him,
just
but
a couple of things would be nice.
I did ask him about his opinion on what happened with I can't remember his name now, but that rider that we didn't get.
Richard Hall?
Yeah.
Okay, that was the week before, wasn't it?
Yeah.
That was
the
week
week before,
yes.
yeah.
Oh, okay, mate. It was
You're watching Doctor Who, I think. Anyway,
the first thing actually is you did ask him about Jack Smith and whether he was okay. And I believe he is okay, isn't he? So that's something.
You also interviewed a young fan as well.
We did interview a young fan.
Yeah, wasn't this like
it? Wasn't this shot?
No, okay.
So that's up
as well. Yeah,
that's on the website as well. So there you go.
Minus the funny faces at the beginning. Took them off.
You can't help it. That's what he was born with.
No. I wasn't talking about him actually.
So
can you just say? In fact, that's had more views than the G8, GD.
Is it right?
Yes,
Fair play. So the good news now from a Birmingham point of view is we haven't got another match for 2 weeks.
Mm-hmm.
So that
who is the next match at home?
It's Kings Lynn, yeah. Which we should. That shouldn't be too
straightforward, I think.
Yeah.
Is there any chance of Tom Perry being back for that one?
I wouldn't have thought so. I think we're looking at the earliest would be from what they said last night on the mic.
What's the latest on Tom Bacon as well?
I think again he's looking. I mean, he didn't look very clever last night with his 2 crutches last night.
Yeah.
But it's a sort of thing that you can put a boot on, can't you?
Yeah.
You know, so, but I don't think you want to rush these people back.
Some of them are lunatics anyway, to be fair, so they will come back quicker than they should. No.
I would say big thank you to Terry Daly, Terry Daly last night. I mean, he didn't score maybe as many points as Tom Bacon would have scored. You don't know. That's always a difficult one to judge, isn't it? But he certainly tried his hard out, and he did score points. And in the end of the match, those points, won us the match really. So.
Jake Knight would be a good quest guest for us at PB.
It would be an outstanding guest. I think his average probably fits
And not
as
a bad
well.
quest either.
No,
yeah. As long as let's just check. Are you feeling peaky?
Pardon?
Are you feeling? It's asking first.
Where is it?
Are you feeling peaky? You ain't got a cold coming on or anything. We don't want. That was. I mean, by the way, I'm not suggesting in the slightest that there was something that Danny Ayres didn't have an illness, because he was supposed to be riding tonight and he's not riding. So he obviously, that obviously is. It's just one of those things. We thought it happens to us all, doesn't it? It happens to us all. So yeah, I mean, Kings Lynn, that should be.
Kings Lynn looked their poor side of the Kings Lynn. They were well beaten by Birmingham over there.
Yeah,
so.
they were really well beaten. So I think it's going to be a good match. It's going to be a brilliant match. They're going to bring their A game, and it's going to be a good match. We're trying to attract people to come to the. And what Wolves got coming up? My meeting tonight, of course.
We've got the big derby on Monday against Coventry.
At home. Wow. Okay, that will be. Coventry are not all that at the moment, though, are they?
Well, you can't rule Coventry out at Monmouth Green, because they do all seem to raise the game.
Right.
Chris Harris always goes well at Monmouth Green. Christoph Kasprzak sometimes.
Yeah, he does, because
he rode well for the Brummies.
He did, didn't he?
Yeah,
one of the
so
few meetings that he rode well for the Brummies. He was really.
Said something about Dobbs, because he rode well at Monmouth and he rode well at Coventry, didn't he? Because he got the 18-point maximum. I remember that. He was brilliant that night.
He was. I think we beat you, didn't we?
No, not that season. That was the first season. That was when the Brummies first came up. I think we won by 3.
Okay.
It was the couple of years later that
that's right.
Birmingham beat us.
Yeah. With Chris Harris.
Yeah, that's right. Yeah. But I think Coventry could be a tough one. But it's a match that, I mean, if you want to be in the top 4, Coventry is home is a match that you've got to be picking up points from. I still don't see. I mean, Coventry have been hit and miss. I don't think they're going to be in the top 4. At the end of the season.
You have to be a poor team not to make the playoffs in the Elite League, don't you?
Well, Leicester are managing.
Well, they are a poor team, aren't they?
It's difficult to call the top 4 at the moment.
Well, Wolves are pretty much going to, you would think, wouldn't you?
I'm not so sure at the moment.
Really?
I think it was disappointing to lose at Coventry. We made hard work of beating Leicester.
A few teams
we're doing well
have
at the
made
moment.
obviously,
Yeah, in fairness, they've done all right. Paul should have lost there, really. But we got a 4-point lead at the moment at Kings Lynn. Probably need another 10 points just to be certain of getting there. But it's going to be tough, I mean, I still think Paul will be in the top 4. I know they're maybe getting. Not so.
Just a quick comment. That he'll make the moves to ensure that. I mean, whether you agree with it or whether you don't agree with it.
I still wonder whether that decision to let David Watt go and bring Bjarne Penson might not come back and bite Paul. To be honest,
he's not pulled up any great.
I didn't expect him to be honest.
No.
A quick comment on Facebook from Mark Thomas said Knight's average is 10.60.
Oh well, he can't fit them, so we can't have him.
No.
And that's the difficulty, isn't it? It's finding the right guest at the right average. Because I think Tom Perry's 8.6 something or other, if I remember right. That's quite a difficult average because he doesn't average that at home. It is what it is, and you have to deal with it. And at some point in the season, it'll be another team with the injuries. That's just the nature of the sport.
Team change coming up at Wolves. Watch this space, says Dingle.
That's what I mentioned.
That might be what you were talking about.
I've heard that Mikhail Beck might not be at the club much longer.
What do you feel about that? Is that a good move? I suppose it depends on who replaces
Well, I
him.
don't think there's any point in bringing a replacement who's going to do as well or not better. You might as well stick with what you got. Mikkel Beck's he's shown some good signs, but I think he's been disappointing. He was disappointing last night, definitely at Lakeside. I thought he was.
What's his average? What's he actually?
5 at the moment.
Okay.
So
they would have to bring in a rider that's because you're above. You must be above the averaging about 50.
yeah.
Aren't you?
I'm quite surprised that there's quite a few Wolves fans who want Sam Masters gone, which I can't really. Because Sam Masters, he was disappointing last night. I know it was his first meeting there, and I don't think he rode quite as well on Monday against Kings Lynn, but Sam Masters has been terrific.
Doing above his average, isn't it? That's all you can ask, really.
And from what I've seen as well, he's extremely popular in the pits with the other riders as well. Really, really good teamman. So I'd be amazed if Masters was let go. I still wonder whether about the spectre of Peter Carlson, because I know there's quite a few Wolves fans who were disappointed not to see PK brought back. I wasn't, to be honest, because I think PK's had his day now. As great a servant as he's been to the club over the years.
You can't go back, really, can you?
No, you can't keep going back.
Stan, who's obviously not an elite league lover. God, that was hard.
Shall we get you some new tea?
If you qualify in the 4th for the playoffs, you are 4th from bottom. Great division, that.
I think that's 5th from bottom, isn't it? It's 8
I'm interested. Get your maths right.
It'll be interesting. No, it's going to be interesting to see what happens in the winter if Coventry don't come back next season and Leicester drop down.
I mean, there's been a bit in the press about that recently, isn't there? I mean, it doesn't look.
I've seen something about Coventry and Leicester merging. I think that's
that they have said that's not going to happen.
Well, they can't stand each other. So
yeah, and so it's also been mentioned Coventry and Birmingham track sharing, and again, Horton said no.
After that, well, I don't think Birmingham would want to track share again after Crowley last season.
No,
to be honest,
no. Although there were some good points, mainly when we beat them.
Yeah, of course. always good to see Crowley there.
So serves Paul Wright for Justin Pedalcar. I can accept Ryder's not been talented enough, but he didn't try. Delete your shout, says the special one.
Okay. That was always the thing with Bjarne Pedersen. You never got the feeling that he was really trying. And he did one race at Birmingham where he went round about 2 riders, and we all went. It was a heat 15 actually, and we all went, well, he can do it, but then he just didn't bother. So I don't know. Hello.
Can I just say, backtracking quite a bit right now, but I did remember one of the questions from the interview.
Let's go for it.
I asked him that we basically beat them with one hand tied behind our back, and how does he think about that? And how does he think about how much the team has improved this season?
Okay, so if you want to hear the answer to that question, you have to listen to the interview on our Facebook page. www.rummyspeedway.net on our page. Right, okay, well...
I'm not going to say that from Ken Dodd. Let's have a go. Ken Dodd's dog died of dysentery in Daventry in December. There you go.
That's a mouthful.
That's from Ken Dodd.
Did that have any sort of...
No, I don't know.
So can we put the scores off anyway?
I'll have to reload
it's
that
one that says Birmingham. So if you can put the Birmingham scores up so I can go through what the...
26-22
There's the one. There's the one. Sorry, you were saying?
So it's 26-22 now at Kings Lynn. So it's turned around now.
It's turned around a little bit. Still close though.
Still close.
So, Zach scored 10, which seems like a good haul, but he wasn't really at his best. Mm-hmm. Interestingly, actually, a bit of insider information, I know that they were concerned that he wasn't getting out the gate.
Yeah.
And so they did some testing. Andy Smith came out and had a listen to his bike. This is quite interesting. He listened to him to do a practice start, and he just went, yeah, that's such and such, and he knew exactly what was wrong with the bike.
That's a good mechanic.
Yeah, from the sound of it, he says, I think it was a valve. You got a broken valve or something. That's what's wrong with it. So hopefully they've sorted that problem. That's quite interesting though. From Tom Bacon's rides, Ryan Terry Daly, he scored 2 points. 2 important points with 2 bonuses. Daniel Hume wasn't at his best last night. He scored 6 points from 6 rides. He's better than that normally, isn't he?
I know he just seems to be quite reliant on his gating, to be honest. Was he gating more last night? So?
No, but he wasn't gating. I mean, I think they were gating better than we were all through the night, which is sort of not surprising given where they come from.
I think if you're looking at the Birmingham team at the moment, probably the one that's been a disappointment so far has been Tom Bacon.
Possibly, yeah. Although, how can you say that? Because he's upped his average by 2 points. That's no mean feat, is it? No mean feat at all. Darryl Richings scored 12 points and was probably the best rider on the night. I don't understand why he wasn't chosen for Heat 15. Zach was chosen, and I can't remember who else was chosen. Who was the other rider? Daniel Hume. It was Daniel Hume.
I just read it on your programme, so
yeah.
It wasn't that I was a bit brilliant as a guest. So.
I actually probably would have gone with Richings and Hume, although Zach, he only had 1 win all night. Daniel Hume had 1 win, and I think that was against Jake Knight, Jack Smith scored 10 from 7 rides. It's not a bad score for reserve though.
No.
Yeah. And he must have been tired. And Jack P had 7 from the same number of rides. So again, not a bad score. I mean, you look at the Eastbourne, like Luke Harris got 1 from 5 rides, and Charlie Powell got none from 7 rides. Charlie Powell, he looks fast. He just doesn't stay on the bike.
He looked really impressive when he guessed it for the Brummies last season, didn't he?
Didn't he? He didn't look impressive at Kings Lynn there. So, and Matt Williamson was fast. Cradley must be kicking themselves. That's all I can say.
Well, a lot of other teams seem to be kicking them at the moment. So it's
yeah. Are they going to get beaten at home this year, Cradley? And are they relying too much on home track advantage?
Well, a few teams have got close to them, haven't they? At home this season.
Do you think we could get close to them?
I think so. Yeah, I think Birmingham can win there.
That would be great, wouldn't it? I can imagine you cheering Birmingham louder than ever.
It'd be very weird for me to go to Mumma Green cheer for the opposition. So.
I think we could, but only if we get a full team.
We do need, but I think we might have a full team by then. So
when is that? When?
I don't know, but what we'll do is we'll get our man to have a look and get the Brummies site up and have a look at the fixture list.
What man?
We'll get up in a second.
Can you have that shout box back on, actually? Because that was an interesting question that I just spied. Okay, so special one said, how far's Daniel come that we are disappointed? A 3-pointer only scored 6. Oh. Well, yeah, I can't disagree with that. He has come on leaps and bounds. I think the disappointment was more about how close the match was, and that we sort of know that your Kents and your Eastbournes, it's going to be one of them, isn't it, that we're going to end up in if we get to the final.
Yeah.
It's going to be one of them that we're going to be up against, and let's be honest about it. If that yesterday was half of a 2 leg meeting, we wouldn't have had a cat and house chance of beating in those 2 legs. But I'm ever hopeful. Ever hopeful. So we're going to have a look at those fixtures in a minute. So when we're up against Cradley and what's up and coming, and hopefully, I don't want to say too much about this, but we might have some exciting news about the show coming up, and I'm not going to say any more than that for the moment. So we have Kings Lynn on the 15th of June. And then on the 22nd of June, we have the National Trophy final against Kent, first leg. That's a bit close, isn't it?
Close, yeah.
But, let's win it.
Then the trip to Coventry after that.
Then a trip to Coventry after that.
So that could be Birmingham's last visit to Brandon.
It could well be, yeah. That's a sobering thought, isn't it? There are moves afoot to keep Brandon as a speedway.
I have
So-
heard rumours
Mm.
about Brandon. I'm not going to say them on here, but
No, but I know there are
Oh, go on.
there are things happening. So maybe I think it's a big maybe. Maybe all is not lost yet.
yeah.
So we'll see on that one.
Well, it'd be nice to think so. I mean, Coventry. I mean, Brandon is one of the great venues in British Speedway, isn't it? So, mate, I know it's probably seen better days now, but
Yeah, but you think of some of the meetings that the British finals that they used to have there, and the '82 one is the one that obviously springs to mind as a Birmingham fan when Andy Graham won it.
I think the title decided with Coventry and Hull in '79. Wasn't
Yes.
it 25,000 in the stadium?
Yeah.
It must have been.
25,000.
25,000. Yeah. And then we go to Kent on the Monday. See, I'd love to go to that. It's a Monday,
It's a long old way as well.
isn't it? On a Monday. Well, we'll have to wait and see. I'm feeling a bit ill for that day. And then on the 29th of June, we're against Mildenhall.
You're feeling it on the first for the first fixture in July?
First
Well,
fixture.
not, I don't know whether you're planning to go down to Eastbourne again. So.
I doubt it.
Yeah.
I think the only chance that you'll get me going to Eastbourne is if we're in the final, and I think we've got a chance of doing something. I don't like the track. I don't like the track. It is what it is, and you can't. Well, I don't like it, and I don't want to spend all that petrol and all that good money to watch something that I don't find entertaining. That's just a personal view. So, wow, I'm still looking for Cradley and I can't find them anywhere.
15th of August.
15th of August, okay. 2 days after my birthday. What a great birthday present that would be.
Yep. And of course the away fixture before that is Bellevue, so
Yep.
I'm sure there'll be plenty of Birmingham fans who might be tempted for a Saturday trip to the new Bellevue track.
Yep, I shall certainly be there. It's not that far. It's not that difficult to get to, is it?
No, it's just down the road from the ground track.
So there we go. Be interesting to see who we have signed up for the Bronze Bull. I seem to be
I
trying
don't know a lot about that meeting, to be honest.
Say again?
I don't know a great deal about that meeting, to be
It's
honest.
that they're just trying to find another way of competing with things like the hammer and stuff and make it interesting, I think.
Right, they're going to get Nicky Pedersen to ride on this one.
I doubt it. I doubt we could afford to, even for his appearance money, to have anything else. Did he have? He didn't have a National League average, did he? So we can't bring him in under that. Oh dear. We'll hear more about that as the year goes on. Well, it's 10 to 9. I think we've. Is there anything else coming up on the shout box? And we'll have a look at the scores on the doors.
Why does this show have so many splinters in their Aris?
Say that again.
Why does this show have so many splinters in their Aris? I have absolutely no idea.
I don't know. Next question.
25,000 for a Speedway match these days would be a good attendance, even with a missing zero. Yeah, it'd be a good gate to Coventry itself, that would, wouldn't it?
Yes.
So, yeah. And actually down the Blues
I think
as
if
well.
you had that sort of gate at our place, you wouldn't get in.
Yeah.
No.
I'd be delaying the match indefinitely because. Yeah.
Young Stan says, if Brandon goes, it will close Midland Speedway for some of us. Well, certainly will for a lot of Coventry fans. I can't see where they would go.
Yeah.
I do know quite a few Coventry fans who go to other clubs as well. But you tend to find with the majority, like most of the Birmingham fans, when Birmingham were closed, very few of them went elsewhere. Some of them did, but not many.
Yeah. You do. Well, you do. You lose supporters. You lose support. So your team is everything, isn't it? That's. Yeah, we'll all love Speedway, and we go and watch other matches.
The Storm are lucky to get 100 these days, says Dingle.
Yeah, but I think that's a very different. If it was just the Storm and it wasn't Coventry Bees, in other words, if that was their only team, I'd get more than 100.
I still think with the National League there is this perception that it's just 4 riders wobbling around the track.
It certainly isn't.
It's which in fairness I was probably guilty of that, but my opinion of it's changed in the last
It's entertaining. It's Speedway.
Yeah,
it's
that's right,
entertaining, and
I mean, in fairness, there are some riders of it who are obviously
Yes.
way out of the depth and probably.
but you
not
know what?
ready
I've
for it,
seen that in Premier League.
but- And there you go.
Yeah, so it happens.
I saw Neil Evans riding at Wolves for a season, so
Now,
Ian Faulkner said he might see you at Kent.
it's called Memories and Histories. Yeah. Well, we've all got them. Brandon was the stadium around here.
Hmm.
I think you go back in. If you're talking about history, and you go back, I think Perry Bar was the stadium around here when it was the old, before the one stop, the old where we are now, but in the old configuration.
nice and tight at Saddleborough,
It is.
27 all.
Yeah, 27 all. That's that'd be. I bet you wish you was there now, don't you?
It's a long old way on a work night.
Yeah, it is. Sheffield versus Workington
I'll
is
just rewind.
currently 36-23 to Sheffield, and he said Workington then.
Mm.
Not a bad result given that they're operating rider replacement for Josh Bates. And Isle of Wight
Coming up.
was 17-7, and now the score is still 17-7.
17-7.
Has that been?
Mm.
Has there been a
Has
crash
that been,
there,
has there been a crash or a, you can have a look at that in a minute. So
There's not much in the way of updates from there, is there?
No.
Really? I suppose this is a challenge match. It's
well, there is that. Yeah.
No.
So
what have their crowds been like? The Isle of Wight so far.
I don't really know.
So I think they're reliant on the big crowd. I mean,
Yeah,
it's notable, of course. They've got Cravey and Birmingham going there in the summer
Mm.
because they know they're going to bring plenty of people over.
I've
So-
got to admit, I would love to go, but the thought of it's just the logistics of the
Yeah.
whole thing. It's a long way to go,
Yeah.
and you got.
Well, when the
fixtures
fixtures came out, I was hoping that it was just going to be the day after Wolves were at Poole. Then I might
you
do
could
the
have
two.
hopped over.
So-
Yeah.
So
Things rarely happen the way you want them to.
yeah, I think Wolves are at Poole and Cradley are at the Isle of Wight the day after later in the season. So
Okay.
Ian says, I hope you realise we have never won a two-legged final.
I do.
In this era.
Yeah.
Time to change.
Yeah. There's always got to be a first one, isn't there?
yeah.
Absolutely. I mean, absolutely right.
And if we
It's a problem.
if our team recovers from the injuries, considering how well we're doing with the injuries, I think we do stand a chance.
Always stand a chance. Always stand a chance. But he's absolutely right. We have not won. Right from 2007, the Young Shield against, I think it might have been Mildenhall. I can't quite remember now. With
Redcar, I think.
That's right. It was Redcar, but we only had two riders in the team, so two of our riders. Everybody else was
Redcar
guests.
winning trophies. That's
Yeah.
running it. So they've really
Yeah.
struggled in recent years, haven't they, Redcar? So.
That was, and then there's the year 2010 when we looked like we were going to win everything and win it easy,
Yeah.
and we just ran out of steam towards the end of the season.
I think Newcastle we got into every final as well, didn't they? That was one of the problems because Newcastle had a pretty
we could,
formidable side that season.
and there was a formidable side, and also they had quite a track advantage. Their tracks are, and that's what we always keep coming up against, isn't it? This home track advantage on our very fair track. Although I think we could do it this year, but I think we do need the wind behind our backs.
It's about being in the right place at the right time, I think, being in a two-legged final. So.
Dingle says you need to go to the Isle of Wight GA. It's great for lots of reasons. He doesn't stipulate what reasons, but it probably involves copious amounts of alcohol and stuff like that.
I would love to go, and maybe I will. It's an expensive business. It's just the petrol down there. It's getting across on the ferry. But I've been told that the track's it's a big, wide open track, and I'd love to see it. So,
And I'd love to see it with you.
Yeah.
and there, well,
Cost you twice as much.
Yeah, exactly. There's another reason not to go. Right there, right there. Anyway,
Crikey.
that's the time.
It's that time again. Oh my life.
Well, we look forward to hearing from you all again next week. There won't be a match to talk about from Birmingham point of view, but there will be
Well, the
Wolves
Coventry
stuff,
Wolves
yeah.
racing, yep,
Yeah.
so.
So, but I would hope that there will be some news about riders and so on by next week, and we will keep our ears to the ground on that one anyway. Everybody take care, and
to the